The holiday season is upon us. Whether you celebrate Hanukkah or Christmas or both, have we got a beer for you?
Hey, I'm reading this great new book about Philadelphia, and what do you know? It includes a chapter on the 10 most important beers in Philly history.
Not sure who wrote that, but I'm looking forward to it. From Naked Brewing in Huntington Valley, PA, with Joe Sixpack, I'm Glen Macnow, and this is What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Montgo Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Download the app. By Visit Bucks County. Follow the Bucks County Ale Trail. Go to visitbuckscounty.com/ale trail to get your passport. And by the Conshohocken Brewing Company, now with 5 locations.
Hey, welcome to What's Brewing. He's Joe Sixpack, I'm Glen Macnow, and today we're at Naked Brewing in Huntington Valley, part of the Bucks County Ale Trail, part of really a great Bucks County beer scene that we've been looking at.
Absolutely, this is a really great little spot here. A little hard to find, but worth it once you show up here. Really fantastic beers. They're going to be trying.
That's why they
some
have
of them.
GPS.
Yes, exactly.
And we are going to be trying some of their beers, but we're going to start today with our beer swap, and we are now officially in the holiday season. The commercials for Christmas start in October,
Right.
But we feel close enough
least.
now that we can do it. So we're exchanging some beers, Christmas beers, seasonal beers.
Right.
And my friend, I brought you one because I know you love it, and this is Troegs Mad Elf, which I infer from you has really become, if not the iconic Christmas beer, one of the big Christmas beers.
I think locally it is. It's been around for a little while, and
I see the cherry.
it is, right, the honey, the cherry,
Look at
with
this.
that Belgian spicy yeast that they
The
use.
color is just so great and
I know.
different. There you go.
Cheers.
How long have they been making this?
It's been over 10, maybe 15 years now that it's been out.
Oh, it's so different. It
So-
really is. I like it because it's different. I get the cherries right away. I get the honey, as you say.
So this is somewhat of a divisive beer because some people feel it's too sweet. I don't, because I think a sweetness factor is important in many Christmas beers, especially this variety. But the other thing is that the beer does tend to change slightly from year to year, in my opinion. Some years it is overly sweet. This year's is got
nice.
that kind of crisp, spicy flavor to
I
it.
like it. Again, I'm not going to drink a lot of this, or I'm not going to sit down and have a 6-pack of it.
11% alcohol, going to be tough to do that one.
Okay,
So
but you know, on a, you know, you have a holiday dinner, you have one of these, even you share one of these. It's a nice, I like it. Here's my question to you. Christmas beer. What defines a Christmas beer?
Well, that's a great question because I get asked a lot of that, having written a book about Christmas beer. And
What's the name of the book?
It's called Christmas Beer. Merry Christmas, Christmas Beer.
There you go.
The thing about, to me, is that because there's no specific style, because you'll find hoppy beers, you'll find dark beers, you'll find these kind of spiced beers. To me, the most important thing actually is the label, which tells me that it's Christmas time.
So they put an elf on the label, it is?
Yeah, and it's a
Okay.
great name.
My sense of it is they are more spicy, they're kind of more warming, you know?
Many of them are, but we brought a variety of them. We'll talk a little bit about it. But
what do you got for me?
Well, I got something because in the spirit of the holidays, which
Yeah.
I believe should be shared by everyone.
Indeed.
This is from Hebrew Brewing, Hanukkah Pass the Beer. It's a Hanukkah beer.
Okay. I'm good with that.
It is, it's a dark ale brewed with chocolate, and it is in the spirit of the
Hanukkah Gelt.
holiday.
There you go.
8% alcohol with 8 different malts and 8 different hops.
There are 8 nights of Hanukkah, so they sell it in an 8-pack?
They should.
Okay. Ooh, that's a dark one. Look at that.
Hebrew Brewing makes a lot of beers in the tradition of the various Jewish holidays, and that one's really fizzing on me.
I like it, man. You do get the chocolate. You get a lot of the
Yeah.
chocolate, and that's okay by me. Again, I'm not going to sit down and drink the 8-pack, but I will enjoy a little bit over the course of 8 nights.
Well, you know what? That's the best part about these Christmas and holiday ales is that they're meant to be shared. So a lot of them are high alcohol. It's the perfect sharing beer. Bring it to a party, you know, split it at home over dinner.
So I tried to look a little bit up of the history of Christmas beers. Again, you wrote the book, but here's what I found is it started in the 10th century Norway. Hold on. Norway's King Håkon the Good. Whatever that means.
Håkon was the guy, I think, that brought Christianity to Scandinavia.
Okay, he decreed that every peasant household has to brew a Christian beer and hold something of a party, and outlined penalties for failing to do so, fines and the loss of property if you shirked your brewing responsibilities.
Absolutely. There was like, he had to brew, you had to brew certain amounts of beer, Christmas beer, or you would be fined, and it could cost you quite a bit. You could lose your brewing license if you didn't make it.
Certainly don't want to do that.
Glenn, the whole tradition goes well beyond that, or well earlier than that.
Really?
Absolutely. The tradition even it predates Christmas. It goes back to the pagan days when brewers were making beers not for Christmas but for the solstice.
Okay. I also read that the first retail mass marketed retail Christian beer was Stella Artois. 1926 launched a Christmas beer and named it after the Christmas star. Although the pale golden lager does not really match the current sense of what's
No, it doesn't. And that may be the first big broad-based one that's been commercial. But, you know, especially in Europe, you saw the Belgian brewers in the Trappist monasteries making Christmas beers through the 14 and 1500s. It's been around for quite a long time. It's a great tradition. It makes sort of like it's a high point on the beer calendar for me.
That's terrific. Listen, the holiday season is terrific. Whatever you celebrate, you should celebrate. And all of our friends are here to make it more enjoyable. It's like all the elves and the reindeer. They're all here to make it more fun. Hey, you saw how much this man knows beer. Coming up, Joe Sixpack, Professor Joe Sixpack, is going to tell you the 10 most important beers in Philadelphia history. From Naked Brewing in Huntington Valley, it's What's Brewing.
This holiday season, where will you find yourself? Celebrating tradition or crafting your own? From awakening awe to igniting the night. Spend the holidays in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Welcome back to What's Brewing with Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. We are at Naked Brewing in Huntington Valley, PA. I'm enjoying the highly inappropriate, unfiltered New England IPA. You know, I love that with tangerine. 6 different kinds of hops.
It's a great name for it, highly inappropriate. I go for a little bit of a clearer looking beer. It's the Pilsner here. Actually, we just told neither of these beers are filtered, so you can see, but mine you can see almost through. So
I can see nothing, and that's the way I like my beer. Now, I just finished a book with Big Daddy Graham, just hit the market now. The Great Book of Philadelphia Sports List, completely revised and updated. And one of the ways we update it is I got my friend Joe Sixpack to work for free doing a list of
Scam.
It's a great scam. The 10 most important beers in Philadelphia history, which I thought was a great way for you to approach it because they may be the best, they may not be the best, but these were beers that had an impact. And you start way back at the beginning with Robert Hare's Porter.
right, I think this
Who was drinking that?
Our colonial forefathers were drinking it over while they were writing the Declaration. This is the beer.
Spilled
that
a
they
little
would have
beer
served. But better than that, George Washington actually declared this porter to be the beer that you should drink if you want to support America right after the Revolution during the whole Buy American era. You can't drink that beer any longer, but the Yard's George Washington's porter is pretty similar to it.
Oh, I love that. Okay, John Wagner's Lager. We're going from earliest to most recent. You did this chronologically.
Exactly. So that beer was during the colonial era. This is in the mid-1800s. It was the first lager brewed in America.
Really?
By a German immigrant. He brought a yeast over from Germany and brewed that beer in the Northern Liberty section of the city. I don't think it was a huge beer, but it's an important beer.
Okay. Bergner and Engel Tannhauser Export. I've never heard of this. When was this?
This is a beer that sort of defined the late 1800s in Philadelphia as a German brewing center, and it won various awards at the 1876 centennial. It was crowned the greatest beer, or one of the greatest beers of the centennial, and it was importantly exported around the world, so it sort of made Philadelphia as America's best beer drinking city back in the 19th century.
Still proud to be part of that. All right, now comes the first one that I've actually heard of. Schmitz, the late great Schmitz.
Schmitz was
important.
It was in Northern Liberties. It was one of the beers. So first of all, it goes back to the 1860s, so it predates the Civil War, and it brewed beer all the way into the 1980s in Philadelphia. When it closed finally, it was the last brewery in Philadelphia, but at one time I think it was around maybe the 4th or 5th largest brewery in America, but because of the whole thing with Anheuser-Busch becoming bigger and bigger, it eventually lost out the competition.
In the shuffle. My writing partner, Big Daddy, said, what happened to Ortlieb's there?
Yeah, well, Schmitz was more important because it was the beer that everybody drank down at the Veterans Stadium and Connie Mack before that.
Okay.
So.
Everybody knows this one. Still going strong, Yuengling Lager. Still a great beer.
It is. Yuengling Lager is sort of an interesting beer because the lager style version of it that we all know did not really come around until I think like the 1970s. But we know that that's America's oldest brewery. But that lager came into the Philadelphia market, and it's so important because for a long time, Yuengling Lager was the #1 sold beer in Philadelphia, outselling Anheuser-Busch, any of their products, Miller Lite, and so on.
Okay. Now we start to get into the craft beer movement. Dock Street Bohemian
This was
kind of kicks it off.
Sort of was the first craft brew that became really popular in Philadelphia. Dock Street's one of the older, it did not actually make the beer in Philadelphia. It did it at its brew pub, but the versions in bottles were brewed elsewhere. But it told Philadelphia, this is what a true Pilsner can taste like. It's not that lousy, sort of watery beverage we get. This is a real Pilsner.
Not the 4.1. All right, everybody knows Yards, and you go with the Yards ESA.
I think Yards is just a really important beer. First of all, it's one of my favorite beers because it was the beer that was served at my wedding.
Okay, good.
It also was the very first beer in the modern era that was being sold as a cask ale, which is important because it sort of introduced people to the whole notion of a cellar temperature beer, a warmer beer.
I love this. The 10 most important beers in Philadelphia. Let's wrap this with, we got 3 more. Victory Hop Devil, great beer, still around.
Very, very hoppy. It was the first real true big hoppy beer in the market.
All right. Notting Head Ich bin ein Berliner Weiss.
Great name, isn't
Yes.
it? It is a sour beer. It's a Berliner Weiss beer, and it was way ahead of its time. After they came on the market, and there was a big craft brewers conference in Philadelphia, a lot of out-of-town brewers discovered that beer during that conference, and they started making their own version nationwide.
And the last one you have on the list is one we've already tried in this show, the Trogs Mad Elf.
Right.
Important because?
Because it's a cult beer. It was the first cult beer in the local area where people were willing to stand in line for the beer. And we see that all the time now at various breweries where people will stand in line for these one-time releases. This was the first.
Well, there's 180-something lists in this book, and yours is my absolute favorite.
Okay,
because
good.
I can take it home and I can kind of work along and drink them as I do. He's Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. We're having a great time drinking beer here at Naked Brewing, Huntington Valley, PA, on What's Brewing. Hi, it's Glen Macnow. You've seen some of our Conshohocken Brewing Company's spots on this show, so I'd like to invite you to come and check them out. You can find us in Conshohocken, Bridgeport, Phoenixville, King of Prussia, and here in Havertown, where I'm enjoying an award-winning Puddler's Row right now. It's one of our year-round core beers, along with Type A IPA and user-friendly Blonde Ale. We've also got exciting seasonal beers, like Blood Money IPA, Philly Vice, and our Unfiltered IPA series. And come hungry. From burgers and wings to salads and small bites, there's something for everyone. Don't leave without trying the amazing cheese curds. All of our spots are built for year-round fun, so you can enjoy a cold one in every season. And good news, you can find Conshohocken beer at grocery stores, distributors, and restaurants throughout PA, South Jersey, and Delaware. So get yourself to Conshohocken Brewing Company. I'll meet you at the bar.
Welcome back to What's Brewing. We're here in Ambler at the Tannery Run Brew Works with co-founder Carly Chelder.
Hi.
And Ed Harris from the Valley Forge Visitors Bureau and sort of the brains behind the Macnow Makers app. The scene here is really exploding in the last couple of years, and especially the last year, I'd say.
Absolutely. I mean, we have over 30 breweries in Montgomery County, so our Macnow Makers app has become very popular, not just for local residents, but people in the city who are coming out here on the 49 different train stops spread across Montgomery County, and Tannery Run is one of our most popular. Tourism's big in Montgomery County. In fact, as a whole, it's a $1.6 billion figure. And so the breweries, the wineries, the distilleries, they all contribute to that. And the brewery scene here is on fire. It's actually making Montgomery County feel a lot younger as beer enthusiasts are coming out from the city to check out all these awesome breweries.
Well, you've been open since when?
We opened in March
Okay.
2019, so about 7 months.
So do you see that kind of visitation here from people from outside of Ambler coming here for the brewery?
Absolutely. We are very lucky to be just strategically located a couple blocks from the Ambler train station. So it's easy to get here, whether you take the train, whether you drive. There's a parking lot next door. It's just actually a great place to be.
What is it about breweries that make them just a good place to go visit if you're a tourist?
Right. Well, I think it really all goes back to community and the community vibe that it brings. So for us, we're plugged into our Ambler Borough community, the Main Street organization. We're plugged into the county community, working with Macnow Makers and the Valley Forge Bureau of Tourism and Convention Board. It's community at every level.
There are a growing number of women who are in the brewing industry. How did you get involved in this brewery?
So my business partner, Tim Brown, he introduced me to brewing quite some time ago and does the brunt of the brew work around here, to be honest. But since we decided to start a business, I got involved with the Pink Boots Society, which is an international nonprofit organization for women in beer. That's it. So every month there are scholarships for women that apply. It's dedicated to educating and inspiring other women in the beer industry.
So, and in fact, they actually funded a scholarship for you?
They did. I'm a proud recipient of the Business of Craft Brewing certificate program through Portland State University Online, and it was all paid for through this Pink Boots scholarship.
That's a pretty cool thing. It's a great phenomenon that's happened in brewing to have an organization for women to come together and share not only their love for brewing, but also their knowledge as well. So Macnow Makers app is a fun app to download. I have it on my phone. I know a lot of our viewers do too, and I know that you're going to be expanding it in 2020. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We are. We're actually way ahead of where we thought we would be in terms of the popularity of an app. So going into January of 2020, we are expanding our app, and what I mean by that is we're going to do some certain upgrades that I think people are going to be really excited about, where as you visit our 30 plus breweries and check in on our app, you start to receive rewards. And from there, as you visit more and more breweries, you'll start to get cool branded merchandise, koozies, coasters, merchandise like hats and t-shirts, and then ultimately, if you reach the master maker level in our app, you'll be able to take a VIP exclusive tour of our breweries. We definitely want people to check out the app and definitely check out places like Tannery Run, because the scene here is so much fun.
We'll head back to you, Glenn.
Well, that looked like a great scene going on there in Montgomery County.
It is, and I brought some beer back from Tannery Run for us to try.
You're the man.
They're doing some interesting stuff there where they have, they make one base beer and then they split it and try to come up with two different styles off of that. But this one is called we have Red Dragon and Blue Dragon here, two different versions of an IPA. And I brought it back because it shows how different yeast will affect the beer. So give the Red Dragon a shot.
This is the red?
This is a regular IPA.
All right.
Classic, hoppy, bitter.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Bitter.
Definitely bitter. Yeah, good.
The Blue Dragon was made with a Belgian-style yeast, which produces actually more alcohol and it's brewed at a higher temperature, which will produce other flavors like phenols and so on. So a little bit of spiciness.
All right, here you go. Yeah, nice.
It's a subtle difference.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a
I
difference.
mean, this one seems a little smoother than the other one. So
Yeah, this one's got a little bit more of a bite.
Yes.
And this one is smoother, easier going.
So-
Interesting, but made from the same.
basic, same batch.
Good stuff. Well, it seems like you had a great time out there, and that is terrific. By the way, if you want to reach on social media, he is beer_radar, and I am at Real Glen Macnow, both of those on Twitter. The show, of course, at What's Brewing PA. We always love your feedback. Coming up, we're going to talk to Dave Wood. Dave is the head brewer here at Naked Brewing. Find out what they are up to on What's Brewing.
I'm Joe Sixpack. I love beer and I love travel. I've visited great breweries around the world, and I'm inviting you to join me on my next expedition to France. Yes, they make beer in France. We'll travel the Seine on a luxury river cruise from Paris to Normandy. We'll visit breweries, explore the sights, drink great beer, and maybe some wine. Join me in October 2020. Just visit my website at phillybeerworld.com. Let's discover a world of beer together.
Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing. We're at Naked Brewing, Huntington Valley, PA. Before we talk to the fine head brewer of this here place, Joe Sixpack, we've been doing our brew down.
These are the last three of the first round, so we're getting down to it. In the dark beer category, Iron Hill Pig Iron Porter bested the 2SP Baby Bob Stout.
Ooh, that's a surprise.
It was a bit of a surprise because they don't package that beer. It's just available in the brew pubs.
Yep.
In the Pils category, we had Sly Fox Pikeland Pils beat the new one from Yingling Golden Pils.
Okay.
And in a real throwdown in the flavored beer category, Evil Genius Purple Monkey Dishwasher, very, very popular beer locally. It actually fell to Spellbound Coconut Palo Santo
Ooh,
Porter.
that's a big upset.
It was, although that porter from Spellbound is actually a GABF winner. So.
All right. Well, as we said, we are happy to be here at Naked Brewing, and the head brewer here is Dave Wood. Dave, first of all, thank you for having us.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Second of all,
Great. Cheers.
what I am drinking here, I am enjoying, but this is one spicy beer. What do I got here?
That's Mexican chocolate. It's our Mexican hot chocolate porter. We brew that with cocoa powder, cocoa nibs, a bunch of arbol chilies, and guajillo peppers.
Definitely get the chilies and the peppers and the chocolate. Really nice. Good stuff.
This is a black saison, unusual style beer. Very smooth tasting. Is it in fact a saison when it's this dark?
It's fermented with saison yeast. By definition, it's definitely not a saison, but it's brewed in that style. The only thing that we did was we added midnight wheat to go and darken up the beer.
It does darken it up. It's nice looking.
But it's a nice mellow.
And I'm always interested to see what brewers themselves drink. And it almost is always a purely basic beer, which I think that's what you got in front of you.
Yes, I have our Playwiki Pale Ale. That's our house pale ale, loaded up with Centennial hops. It's double dry hopped with Centennial hops, and it's brewed with Centennial and Chinook hops.
Cool.
As
cool.
well.
So I know one of the other beers that you brewed just came out is this collaboration beer. Last week we were at, where were we last week? Goblet,
Broken
I'm sorry.
Goblet,
We were
yes.
at Broken Goblet Brewing last week, and you guys collaborated with them to brew this beer on behalf of the Bucks County, Visit Bucks County folks and their ale trail. Tell us a little bit about this beer.
So this beer is kind of something different. It's a Graf, and it's kind of funny. Graf wasn't actually a style of beer until Stephen King wrote it into the Dark Tower series of books. It's a dark ale that's fermented with apple juice, and it's really neat. It's basically a sweet porter as the base beer that's blended with 100 gallons of locally sourced apple cider.
Them Apples, it's called, and you can pick this up here at the brewery, and I guess it's going to be out in beer stores as well.
Yeah, I believe B-Gob is going to be distributing some of their cans. We're going to be selling cans in-house, and we still have a little bit on draft right now.
And did this beer come from a homebrew recipe?
I brewed a Graf years ago when I was homebrewing, but this particular style, it was kind of a back and forth collaboration with the guys over at B-Gob.
Cool. So that's the sort of thing, homebrewing leading to actual professional beers.
Yep.
A note to homebrewers out there, you never know where your beer is headed. So we've got a lot going on at the Naked Brewing through December. I know you've got your big event of the year is the Festivus.
I love this. Yeah.
I love that you do this.
What's going on with that?
We have the feats of strength. We have our aluminum pole.
Do you have the airing of the grievances?
Actually, we do, and a lot of people aired a lot of stuff towards me.
No shortage of that.
But yeah, we do the whole nine. So it's straight from Seinfeld, and there's a lot of beer, a lot of fun. It's really good.
That's great. And what would you be drinking at Festivus? I know you do make some holiday beers.
Yeah.
You have a new beer coming out called Rantlers.
Rantlers, yeah. So if you remember from Rocky IV, when Rocky was excited Santa was on top of the roof, saying, "Look at all the Rantlers." So yeah, we're calling a beer.
That's obscure even for me.
What kind of beer is that?
It's a oatmeal milk stout that we mashed in chocolate chip cookies, carrots, and we finished the beer with a whole bunch of candy canes.
Wait a second. Wait. Oatmeal stout.
Yeah.
Carrots. Chocolate chip cookies.
Yep.
And candy canes.
Yeah, and lactose at the end too. So you got your milk and cookies.
Right.
You got the care for the reindeer.
All the food groups.
And then you wash it all down with a candy cane.
I bet that's a lot of fun.
Well, not opening all the candy canes.
What a good addition to last week's episode where we're showing the different flavors and stouts.
Yeah.
That one's sort of pushing it.
That's pretty crazy, but I tell you what, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an excellent visit to Naked Brewing. You are open mainly on the weekends, or Thursday through Sundays, I guess?
Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay.
Our hours vary a little bit throughout the week, but for the most part, it's 4 o'clock on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Fridays we open up at 2, and then Saturdays and Sundays we open up at noon.
And it's part of the Bucks County Ale Trail as well.
Yeah, and we're on the Bucks County Ale Trail Passport, so if you want to stop in here, get a stamp. If you go and collect all the stamps from all the Ale Trail breweries, you get a pretty cool shirt.
So here's the secret: it's on Buck Road, and you have to go to the back. It's a great little sort of hidden spot, but it's definitely worth checking out. You'll find a lot of beer lovers in this brewery.
Hey, thank you so much for having us. We had a great time, and thank you everybody for listening. We look forward to seeing you next week on What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Macnow Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Download the app. By Visit Bucks County. Follow the Bucks County Ale Trail. Go to visitbuckscounty.com/ale trail to get your passport. And by the Conshohocken Brewing Company, now with 5 locations.